Hello, good morning everyone, and welcome to WALF Safari from Djuma Game Reserve in South Africa. And my name is Patrick, and Kat joined me on camera this morning, and Crack can be in final control. So the three of us, and we'll be driving you around in this beautiful African bushveld and see what we can find for you. And just join us and enjoy the drive. Let's go out and have a look around and see what we can find. The sun is nice and warm already at 6 o'clock Central African time. It's gonna be another cooking and hot day in this part of the world. I saw quite a few tracks on Viettel Access Road. I'm not too sure what were there and where they were going. So I just want to quickly check Viettel Access Road towards Sandy Patchen and see what tracks were there and where they were going. There's lots of hyena tracks here. When I came in at 5, it was still very, very dark, and I could hardly see and identify the tracks on the road. So it must have been the hyenas walking along the road here last night. It's all hyena tracks here. When I first saw them in the dark this morning, I thought it could have been Gorilla and the cubs. There were several sets of tracks on the road. Gorilla and the cubs, and we're seen just off a Triple M road yesterday morning, and they eventually cut off into Western Gowrie again, which is a good news. So they might stick around in the western part of the concession for a while. And she was fairly close to the lions and the hyenas and the buffalo carcass of Triple M Road as well, just near Gowrie Gate. But she cut off onto Western Gowrie just before she got to the carcass where the lions and the hyenas were. Maybe we should check Sandy Patch and up to Impala Plains and see if we can pick up anything there. So she's back in a favorite hunting ground, Impala Plains and Sandy Patch. There's often a large herd of impalas hanging around between Sandy Patch and Impala Plains. At one stage, in the western part of Western Gowrie used to be the favorite hunting ground for wild dogs. So they were viewed in that particular area for a numerous incursion a couple of years ago. Some elephant tracks here heading that way. Some zebras around the corner. Good morning, donkeys and pajamas. Deron has been here last night as well. Three zebras. I don't see more. This is the stallion and two mares. It's a stallion coming at the back here. There's a stallion. Is the female in front and looks pregnant. The zebras pretty much eat any type of grass, and they are known as bulk feeders. And they're also the hind guard formators. That's why they always look nice and round and fed all year round. And this is the only zebra species that we get in this part of the world, the Bartschall's zebra or the plain zebra. You'll often find them in the basalt areas. Where the grass is highly nutritious. But in this part of the reserve, and they have no choice, and sometimes you find them in the thicker vegetations, grazing, because you don't have a large open grasslands here. So they are also adapted to the dense vegetation areas, especially during the day. But in the early mornings and the late afternoons, and they tend to hang up in the open spaces to be able to detect the danger. Look at that. They're very, very alert all the time. The zebra senses are very well acute here. Fairly good eyesight, smelling and hearing. Triple Craig. Going to restart the software in the computer. Ask if you can restart the software in the computer. Carol, good morning to you. And Carol is asking if the zebras migrate after the raining season. Just to begin with, Carol, zebras if the quality of grass is good in a certain area, then they will obviously stick around in that particular areas for some time, and obviously moved on to another area. So you must have noticed that sometimes we don't see zebras in this part of the reserve and for a number of days, and they come back and stick around here for a couple of days and moved on again. So they migrate all the time. Teresa, good morning to you. Teresa is also inquiring why the zebras have never been domesticated. As far as I know, Teresa, zebras have been domesticated, or they've tried to domesticate it many years ago, but unfortunately they did not come alright, because they say that the zebra's backs are very weak as compared to the donkeys and horses. You can't actually ride the zebra because of the very weak backs. And again, the kidneys are also situated near the spine. So you can't ride the zebra, or you can't use them as transport of pulling things like they do with the donkeys and horses in Africa. Very, very beautiful animals. Alrighty, shall we move on? questions? Station on top. This is pretty much the area where Gorilla and the Cubs went in yesterday morning. There's no trucks on this road so far. elephants have also been here. Lots of branches that have been broken and dropped on the road. Another Porcupine quail in the road. Porcupines are obviously very active in this part of the concession here, because I often find the porcupine cruisers is lying on this particular road. It's between Zoe's Road and Impala Plains, and sometimes along Zoe's Road south of Vietala Access Road. One day we might come across one. We don't get to see the porcupines during the day, or even in the early morning, so they tend to operate primarily at night. So at this time of the morning they are already back in their respective places and sleeping. Porcupines are the largest rodents in Africa and predominantly vegetarian creatures. They also occur outside the game reserves, and in the midnight, and people do often see them feeding on their crops and pumpkins and the watermelons. They love watermelons, just like the elephants. Elephants love watermelons and oranges. So if you want to make friendship with an elephant, you must give it some oranges and watermelons. But I think they relish Oranges and watermelons, the elephants. And if you go up to the northern part of the Sabi Sand, the Kruger, not the Sabi Sand, you often see lots of Tamboti trees that have been rank barked and destroyed by porcupines. Zebra tracks, and possibly the same 3 zebras that we saw up on Sandy Patch area. Also riding the tracks are heading down that way. Jennifer, good morning to you and welcome on board. And I haven't actually heard from you for quite some time, so I believe you are doing fine. And Jennifer says, and I said that the porcupines are predominantly vegetarians. What other things do they eat that don't make them vegetarians? It is very difficult to say, Jennifer, because there are animals. Just to give you an example, with a brown snake eagle, and people say that they are exclusively snake eaters, but have been seen eating other things, insects, lizards, and stuff like that. And the porcupine might also eat some other things that people have never seen them eating. Like for instance, the hippo. There are people who have seen the hippos eating meat. But they are vegetarian animals. There are people who have seen the warthogs also eating meat. So, but obviously the warthogs are omnivorous species. But we seldom see them eating meat. We often see the warthogs and feeding on grass and digging up grass roots and bulbs and things like that. So as I said, there might be some other things that porcupines do eat and that we have never experienced before. So they are no exception to the rules. And another good example for you, Jennifer, the kudu. We say the kudus are browsers, or strictly browsers. But I've seen the kudus eating grass before. They will eat a fair amount of grass at the different times of the year, depending on the food availability in the area. Even cat species do eat grass when they have stomach problems. Cheryl, good morning to you. Cheryl is asking about the size of this reserve. The whole of the Sabi Sand is about 65,000 hectares. If you convert it to acres, and it will probably be about 175, 180 acres. But the area that we traverse in Djuma is 1,000 hectares. So it's a very small portion of land. when it's very quiet and some days, and then we can pretty much cover the whole reserve for every single road within our traversing range. Like the other day I nearly cover every single road on the concession. There was not much happening around. I think we also have about, let me just think about it quickly before I say it. Maybe about 40 kilometers of roads on the concession, or not even 30, maybe 30, not 40, not 25 or 30 kilometers of roads we have. But I'll have a look on the map and see what it says. So there might be a better estimation or calculation of the kilometers of roads that you have on Western Gowrie. Mr. Hamger, our friend, the hippo, is in the water. Just on the left edge of the screen, it's under the water now. And it's coming this way. Just getting closer and closer to us now. There he goes. Orange breasted bushy rock culling in the background. Coffee Tiomi. Coffee Tiomi. One of the most beautiful and memorable African call. orange-breasted bushy shrike. Humga's not doing much this morning. I think we're gonna leave him to it and see what else we can find for you folks. I'm going to quickly show you something here. Marula Fritz in the different colors. Is the sun right? Not right. I'm going to just drive up the road and it'll stop away. The light is better with the sun shining right into the camera. Better, yeah. Just can put them in the dashboard over here. You see them how they vary in color. So two green ones and two yellow ones. So obviously the green ones are not yet ripened, not ready to be eaten by animals. But elephants do eat them, but they don't chew them. Some of them they don't chew them; they just swallow them straight away. But the yellow one, they are able to to chew on the skin because it's much softer than the green ones. Yeah. And even the local people, when they make beer with the Marula fruits, I mean, they don't use the green ones because the skin is very, very hard to peel it. But the yellow one is much softer. But you won't be able to see me as I am pushing the skin inside. So it's very, very easy. So this one, wow, it's solid. You can't really push this or compress the skin. So if you look on the elephants dung, and you'll often find a lot of the green ones that haven't been chewed at all or digested at all. They just, as I said, they just put them in the mouth and then swallow them straight away, and then they come out as they were swollen. But they will be coming to the end of the season soon, probably the next month and a half or so. Want some? And Jadian jam is also prepared from the fruit. It's very, very nice and healthy jam, Marula jam. So, and how the jam is prepared, and from the Marula fruits, and they cut them around, cut the fruit around, and put them in the pot, and they add a fairly amount of sugar and water, and they cook them in the fire. And you can have a jam, Marula jam. But not many people make a Marula jam these days. They tend to make Marula beer. It doesn't taste like the normal Marula cream or liqueur. It's a completely different taste and different look. The Marula beer tastes pretty much like a dry white wine. But depending on how it is prepared. And some people tend to ferment it for weeks and months. And some people do differently. Maybe they'll ferment it for at least a few days or a week. And drink it afterwards. But the normal fermentation process, and it takes about 3 days. So if the fermentation process takes about 2 weeks or a month, and then it's very, very strong Amarilla beer. And it tastes pretty much like a brandy. A distilled brandy. But you can't mix it with Coke like the normal do for brandy and Coke. We're in the Malawati River bed at the moment. Lots of elephant tracks here along the river. This is the leopard's country, yeah? This is the same crocodile tracks that came from Chalapan. There's an elephant down there. Chalapan to to tree names for baboon pens. Just gonna stand by over here. A little bit forward. Mr. One Tusk Elephant Bull. Just walking along the riverbed. Just gonna quickly go back to Mama Road in junction with Milwaukee. I'm sure he'll pop out there shortly. I think I had seen this guy before, yeah. The One Tusk Elephant Bull. It's got a big hole and a notch on his right ear. So he's a big boy, yeah? Good morning, Jamba. So his other Tuscan obviously did not grow. Off he goes. That was very quick. Try and catch up with him again on the other side of Milwaukee. I don't want to follow him from behind. And sometimes elephants get agitated when you drive behind them. They don't feel comfortable at all. It looks like he is intentionally going somewhere, as he's not stopping and feeding. So there might be some other elephant bull individuals and further upstream, or even the breeding head further upstream. That is going to join up with. Where is he? See the tree shaking there ahead of us, so it might be feeding. Looks like he is feeding now. Maneuver the vehicle quickly. He's approaching us with his ears widely open. He's trying to listen to us and try and make himself bigger to intimidate us. The guy's walking off. So he's going to come back into the riverbed again. Sorry, Mr. Jambo. I'm just gonna go back slightly again. We are sitting skew at the moment. Okay. It's gone on the other side of the riverbank. Very powerful creature, the elephant, and he's walking up the riverbank and it's like nothing to an elephant. It doesn't need to engage the four-wheel drive or low range or deflock or anything like that. It just boom, walk straight up onto the other side of the river. But walking downhill, and it's been an effort to an elephant. So they have to unlock the hind legs just to balance the whole body. sometimes they even try and sit up and slide downhill. I've seen big bull elephants doing that before. You guys have been enough this morning. I think the Jima guys are operating up in the north this morning. In fact, I haven't heard them getting mobile this morning. I presume that they are doing walks or something this morning. Squirrels complaining about something around here. There's one calling that side to your right, and the other one also complaining down the riverbed to your left. Just go around the other side of the dam and see if we can pick up anything. There's the squirrel to your right, and it's constantly alarming. No sign of anything yet. Squirrels wouldn't be alarming for the sake of alarming, so there must have been something around here. Maybe a predator walked through here a little while ago, or a bird of prey. Nothing in the riverbed either. There's no sign of the crocodile at the dam either. I think he is at Baboon Span. No movement around Baboon Span either. I think we should move on. two young Kudu bulls. Now stop there please. Now I'm moving into the drainage line. Gone. The mud pop up through the gap there. Not a good visual at all. Screen. Had wild dogs in Chitakatlan yesterday morning, and they crossed over into Chitwa. Apparently there were 7 of them. Don't often see the wild dogs in this part of the Sabi Sands. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they are seasonal migrators. They tend to move around a lot, the wild dogs, and they can be anywhere, any time of the year. But they breed in winter. And people, they were asking yesterday, and if wild ducks are seen at a specific time of the year in this area. Rhino up ahead. Thinking of the devil. Two rhino. Gonna keep a distance to it for now. Just walking across the road from the left to the right. It looks like a cow and the youngster. And we have a very fresh leopard tracks here as well. Unfortunately, they are going in the opposite direction. Fran, come back. Morning. Where are you now? So we got an Ingwe there. Okay, copy. Which Ingwe is that? Okay, copy. Thanks. I've got two combis. Chitakatlan, north of Leadwood, junction of Chitakatlan. Now if it's farmering into the Makurit Latina, I'm not gonna come. This is actually a bull rhino, not a female, yeah. Just looking at the body size. It's relatively larger compared to a rhino's cow. And his horn is also broader and blunt at the end of it. The rhino cows tend to have a very long, sharp horns because they hardly use the horns for anything unless if they defend the babies against the lions. It's getting nice and warm now, and then hopefully this rhinos and then will stop feeding and find some nice shady spot and take it easy for the day, which is very typical of the rhinos. And as you can see, they're feeding very, very slowly, so it's about time for them to retire for the day. So this is obviously the part of the shorthorns family. A little bit forward. It's moving behind the tree again. It's very difficult to follow the rhinos, and especially when they are feeding like this, because they move around and around in the circles. moving deep into the bushes now. I'm going to try and stay with them as long as possible. Not that nice and moving up into the open spaces now, then we will have a good view of them. It looks like they've detected the scent of the other rhino that could have been in the area, possibly last night or the day before last night. When the rhinos walk along the road and they deposit the scent. from the feet. Just after marking the territory in the medians and kick the dungs open and walk on top of it, and obviously then the scent and stays on the feet, and as they walk along the territory, then they obviously deposit that scent just to notify the other rhinos that they've been in the area, especially the territorial holders. They also spray urine into the bushes and in the grass along the roads. It's lying down. And see how they're quickly reacting if they've picked up the sound of something or the smell of something. The wind also confuses the rhinos when they're lying down. Like the branches squeaking, or the branches touching against the ground and make a funny noise, and that freaks out the rhinos and the other animals as well. And that's why when there is a prevailing wind, and then most of the animals tend to go in the very, very thick bushes. The rhinos have no natural enemies. But they maintain their safety all the time. It is sometimes a big part of lions and will venture going for the rhinos. I've seen big part of lions going for the rhinos before. And 99.9% out of the time, then the lions don't win. bull might also lie down next to the other rhino. There he goes, lying down. Welcome to Wildlife Safari. My name is Patrick. I'm kept behind a camera. So what a privilege then to be able to spend time with the two rhinos lying down in the soft ground like this in the early hours of the morning. So it is a bull and the young cow. And the cow will be about 8-9 years old. And the female rhinos attain the sexual maturity at the age of about 11, 12, 13 years old. It's pretty much the same age as the elephant cows. When the temperature rises, and then they will move into the bushes for some decent shelter and lie down there until the late afternoon. And sometimes the rhinos will lie down flat on one side of their body. This is awesome sighting. Elizabeth, good morning to you. Elizabeth would like to know the difference between the black and white rhino. The major difference between the two rhinos, it's obviously the size to begin with. So the white rhino is twice the size to a black rhino. The full-grown rhino bull weighs about 2.5 tons and 2,500 kilograms, whereas the black rhino's bull weighs about 1.4 tons on average. And the shape of their lips or mouths so the black rhinos have a pointed lips, and white rhinos have a square lips, as the name implies. The square-lipped rhinoceros, which is the white rhino, and the hooked-lipped rhinoceros, the black rhino. And with regard to the color, there is no difference at all. So the white rhinos are not white, as you can see, so they are gray in color. But sometimes they will change colors depending on the terrain they occur. So sometimes you see them in a red color or black in color and after rolling around in the mud, or gray, like light gray in color when rolling around in the soft grey soil. So the name white rhino apparently comes from the Dutch-speaking people that has been misinterpreted by the English people many years ago. I can't really pronounce the Dutch word for a white rhino. It's Weidmond rhinoceros, something like that, which means a wide-mouthed rhino. So when the English people heard that word Weid, and they thought it's white rhino. So that's where the misinterpretation came from, apparently. And since then, and they have been known as white and black rhinos because it was very easy to identify them as black and white rhinos. And we hardly call them hooked lip rhino or a square lip rhino, so we are still stuck to white and black rhino. And we don't often see the black rhinos in this part of the Sabi Sands because they tend to hang up in the open grasslands. And sorry, I'm confusing myself. And then the black rhinos and prefer the dense vegetation areas because they are the browsers and they eat leaves of the trees. And as these guys here tend to hang around in the open spaces as they are grazers. But having said that, then you do find the above species in the different terrains, and you must have seen the white rhinos and feeding in the thicker bushes, and I've also seen the black rhinos on the open spaces. So there is no strict rule when it comes to the area where they occur. or prefer to hang around. Morning to you, Helene. And Helene is asking if I know or have any idea how much the rhino's head will weigh. Not too sure how much does a rhino head weigh. If anyone knows how much does a rhino head weigh, you can let me know, and I'll appreciate your contribution. I've looked it up the other day and I couldn't find how much does it weigh. But I can estimate, but I don't know. Do that now until you guys come back to me with an answer. And while you are searching for the weight of a rhino's head, and can you also check for me how much does a rhino horn weigh on average, if it has ever been recorded? I'll also appreciate that. But it might be difficult because the rhino's horns size vary. So you do find other rhinos with very, very long horns and thicker, some shorter horns and broader. So they vary in sizes. So and that is something to do about age and obviously genetic. And if you look at this rhino's horn length and size, and it's obviously different to the shorthorn. He's obviously the oldest rhino in this part of the reserve. So he has obviously been in many fights with the other rhino bulls defending his territory and the females. So it gets shorter and with age, and also the number of fights that the rhino has engaged itself to. No, she's lying down again. Okay, Diane and Lisa Osborne get back to me with the estimation of the weight of a rhino's head weight. And Diana says 1,000 kilograms, which is 2,000 pounds, and Lisa Osborne says 500. Wow. 1,000 kilograms just for a head alone. I don't think it weighs that much, unfortunately. If the rhino bull weighs about 2.5 tons, which is 2,500 kilograms, so the head alone wouldn't weigh about 1,000 kilograms. And I don't think it's 500 kilograms either. But thanks very much for trying. Just to give you a perspective, I weigh 87 kilograms.
Stop eating.
Stop eating. So I don't know, just looking at the size of the rhino's horn, in comparison to my body and weight, Who is that from?
Google.
Hmm?
Google.
With Google.
He searched it on Google. That's for the boy.
So, according to the Google search, the horn weighs about 13 pounds, which is about 6-7 kilos. I'm still waiting for the answers of the rhino's head weight. I've got a buffalo skull at home that weighs about 45 kilograms. So I think the rhino's head and will weigh about 55, 60 kilograms thereabout.
It's my weight.
For a full-grown rhino bull, but obviously females and the youngsters and will weigh less than that. And 65, you weigh 65 you said, eh? 40, 55? 60. So that is cat's weight.
Thanks, everybody.
60 kilos. Okay, Lisa Osborne comes back again with 500 pounds, which is about 255 kilograms. I think that's impossible again. 250 kilograms is the weight of a full-grown kudu bull. I don't think that is accurate again. And a waterbuck bull also weighs about 240 kilos. Maybe an elephant's head. Will weigh but I'm sure the elephant heads weigh more than 500 pounds. Yeah, the elephant's trumpeting. Elephants going crazy here. Just to our right here. It sounds like they're coming this way. They're definitely not happy about something there. There might be a bull harassing them. Especially the young bulls intend to harass the females in the herd. Shall we leave these guys to themselves and we'll try and catch up with them again this afternoon. So it's been a great sighting, I must say. Just following them from a couple of 100 meters up the road and all the way down, and then they lie down in the road. And the bull was rubbing his head against the fallen marula tree to the left. So I don't think they're gonna go far from here. So they might stick around here this afternoon again. So we'll come up here and see if we can relocate. Male leopard tracks. Possibly one of Gorilla's boys. Hi, Elizabeth again. Elizabeth says that she noticed that when the rhinos lie down and they almost touch each other, is there a reason for that? And she also asked if I could climb out and go and weigh the rhino's head. It won't be easier to weigh the rhino's head, and especially on a live rhino. A dead one, I suppose you could. And touching each other when they are lying down, and I think it is something to do about safety, and also another elephant ball over there, and also keeping each other warm when it's cold. It could also be something to do about communication, using the body language. It's a big elephant bull is in the mast here. He's dripping quite heavily. If you look between his hind legs, is wet and sort of grayish in color like. The temporarily glands are also dripping quite heavily than usual. He's a fairly old elephant bull. He will be about 45 years old. Stay away from us. Hello, boy. Don't come near us. He's sniffing something in the air. He's possibly picking up the smell of the other elephants that were screaming and shouting in the bushes. And a little while ago. Give him some space. Yeah. No, he'll be fine. He's a big boy, yeah. Yeah, let's leave him to it. He was very close to the vehicle there. And he twisted his trunk around his tusks and blow sand towards the vehicle. Unfortunately, the sand did not reach us. Sometimes elephants will throw sand and mud and branches to the vehicle if they are unhappy about something. Especially the elephant bull in must like that. So you need to approach him very, very cautiously and respectively. Because anything may occur. Never play games with an elephant bull in must, yeah. But some must elephants are quite relaxed to the vehicles, and just depends on how long they've been in must for. But if they've just come into their master, and they can be extremely aggressive towards anything, really. Were you nervous, Kit?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Quite upset.
No, not really upset. I think that with the trunk it's just a warning or a false charge.
Very close.
So that's one of the things that I picked up first, because he did that with the trunk and the ears were way out of the head, and realized that it was not too serious. But if the elephant bull and tuck his tusks between his front legs and lower his head, and you know, and he's not playing. It's really, really gonna hit you. So you have to get out of his way as quickly as possible. If that elephant bull keeps walking to the south along the road, and the two rhinos will get disturbed by him. He will push them away from the road. He's the king of the jungle. No one stands on his way. saw tracks there and I thought it was a lion's tracks. The very old hyena tracks, and then also birds of possibly the francolins had a dance bath over there. Gowrie Dam. It's just the one hippo at the dam. And we're gonna call it the morning, and it's been a wonderful morning. Some nice rhinos and elephant, bull and mast that gave us a little bit of a rave, and which was very nice. It was a great experience. I've never been that close to an elephant, bull and mast for a very long time, and I think that was priceless, cat. And we also had the leopard tracks and that headed south along Chita cut line. I'm going to try and follow up on the tracks later. And the Kuruza was also seen up on Zoe's Road this morning, but she headed off to the west into the thick bushes. We're also going to try and follow up on her later this afternoon. So you've been watching Wildlife Safari in the beautiful African bushveld in Djuma Game Reserve. And my name is Patrick. Kat has been behind the camera and the Craig back in follow control. And we'll see you later this afternoon. Bye for now.